All right, good morning, everyone. Uh, let's uh, let's give a minute or two for some other people to join the webinar today. I've got a bunch of people on already. Thanks for joining us. We'll get started shortly. All right, why don't we get started? Again, good morning, and welcome to the Code Council's chapter webinar for the fourth quarter of 2025 or 2024. My name is Ron Peaster. I work for the membership department at the Code Council, and I'm here with my colleagues Tamika Dunning and Grace McGregor, also from the membership department, and we are your chapter support team. We really appreciate you joining us today, and we've got some information to share with you as you prepare for 2025. It's hard to believe it's right around the corner. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping issues. If you have questions, we certainly want to answer those questions. Grace will be monitoring the chat. And so please, if you have a question, put it in the chat. And we'll answer questions as we go along, and then we'll certainly make time and hopefully time if we can for some question and answer at the end of the webinar. Also, just want to remind you at the end of the webinar, we'll be asking you to fill out a short survey. This is really important to us because it helps us to identify topics that you may be interested in for future webinars and areas where you're looking for information that hopefully we can provide in the future. So please make sure to take a little bit of time, shouldn't take but a couple of minutes at the end to fill out the survey. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tamika.
Okay, so are we just doing intros or you want me to jump in and get started?
Let's just get started.
All right. Well, if you haven't met me, if I haven't met you, I'm Tamika Dunning. I'm manager of member services in the Birmingham office, and I've been with ICC for about a little bit over 2.5 years. So if we haven't met, I hope that we can get a chance to do that soon. We've got an upcoming event that Ron's going to talk to you about, and maybe it will be there at the Chapter Leadership Academy. So to begin with, we're going to just go over, we like to start with some real important updates and just some hopefully helpful tips that can help you individually and your chapter as a whole to stay connected, or things that can help both our office and you to stay connected and just to get the most out of what we offer and to make everybody a little bit better. So to jump right in, we launched a brand new online member community very recently, and we're super excited about it. If you haven't joined the online community, that is something we encourage you to do. We have a link that Grace is going to drop into the chat so that you can do that after we finish, and you can sign up while you were waiting. If you were waiting for the webinar to start, there was an opportunity to do that then. She's going to put that in there also. But in the online community, it's just a wonderful opportunity for our members to form groups and talk to each other and to stay connected, to connect with their peers, to work together to solve problems. We have a chapter group and mainly wanted to encourage you to join that group. I'm the admin on that one, and there's so many others that you can join that may interest you as well. Within that group, we also launched, now this is a member exclusive benefit, by the way. So if you are somehow your membership lapses or you can't get in, the reason would probably be because you need to renew. So if you know anybody who is saying they can't get in, just make sure that they're active, and you can access through MyICC. Once you log in, you'll be able to look at our career opportunities. You'll be able to post opportunities for other people if you have jobs available. And we have a mentor program. You can only access that through there. I signed up as a mentor. So don't feel like you have to be some expert to be a mentor. So we encourage you to sign up through there to be a mentor or to be mentored, or be a mentor mentee. And it's just a great opportunity to stay connected. It's like LinkedIn, but just for us and just for you. So we're real excited about it. So be sure to sign up for that. And one big change is that our membership councils will now require you to sign up through the member portal. So if you have to go through the membership online community to do that. So pretty soon we're going to be sign up, if you will, through this portal to do that. So if you've already signed up for a membership council, eventually we're going to shift everybody to having to go through that way to get signed up. Okay, so that's the member community. Our next important announcement is we have gotten a lot of bounce backs and kind of some reports from marketing about our emails that we send to chapter leaders about them not getting to you. And then we hear reports of people saying, well, I don't know about the web benefit. I don't know about the website benefit. I don't know about this event, or I don't know about this, but we know that we're sending it. So we're making sure that this year we take every opportunity to keep our records updated so that you get the information that we're sending out. And our recent report on what happens when we send the emails out is telling us that a lot of emails are not getting to you because you've opted out. Say, for instance, you got an email from marketing about something you weren't interested in, and you clicked unsubscribe. Well, you may think you only unsubscribe to that, but it reads that you don't want to get anything else. So if you've ever done that and then all of a sudden you're not getting information, it could be because of that. So that's one thing to be aware of, and we're our chapter leaders to take a look at that and to share that information with your other chapter members, to be aware that if you ever click those unsubscribe links at the bottom of our emails, that you may want to reconsider that and go back and fix that, because it cuts you out of all of our communications in many instances. So Grace is going to put a link in there on how to fix that if you think that you've been affected by that and you're not getting things. Another reason that we want to bring this to your attention is that the HubSpot is the system we use, and HubSpot also kind of looks at emails that we're sending to you, and it reads whether you're opening them or not. So if you're just ignoring them and you're not opening them, it reads that, oh, we've sent this person 10 emails and they don't open them, so they must not be interested in what we have to say. So it gives a percentage of interest, and it will read as they're not interested, and then they'll stop sending it. So we can't control how that works. That's just how it works. So it would be better for you to just click it and delete it after you open it than to never open it or to opt out. So that's just one little side bit of information that we're going to start trying to promote to help us and to help you stay connected. Let's see. The last thing, no, I got two more quick things. Our chapter manual was updated right before the conference, and that is some information. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can share where that's located, because the chapter manual has a ton of great information that I want to make sure you all know about. All right, it's online, and I'm going to show you how to get there. Okay, so somebody just verbally to let me know that you're seeing the browser for the internet.
Yes, we see the browser.
Thank you. Okay, so if you're on, go to the main page, and if you go to membership and you go down to chapters and scroll down to resources. It's going to be here where you see all of our chapter officers information, all the kind of resources that you have at your, just click under there. It unfortunately, that's how this thing works. It's too much information. It's like hidden. So you're going to have to click that button to get it to show up. I'm working on getting that fixed. We're trying hard, but you have to click that to make it show up. But the manual is under there and it got updated, and it's so cool. It's so new, and it's got all the great new links, and it's updated with all the new information. So when people say they don't know about stuff, you can just send them here, or you can print it out or access it wherever you are. So I'm real excited. The team worked real hard. We sent it to a lot of people who have information to update. So everybody updated it that needed to see it, all the proper departments. So you'll see how to form a chapter. We went online and updated how to start a new chapter. Everything's just all brand new. Super excited for everybody on this project. So that's how you get to it. And then the last thing is that I have on my updates is the old webinars. If you missed them, and I know a lot of people did, they're on here too. So if you go to webinars and click that, all of them live here, and this one today will live here. And today we'll save it and put it on this page, so you will be able to see right now it's the day, and then that's the last one. So if you click that, you can watch the last one. If you scroll down, you'll see all the ones from this past year, all the information that we shared that you may have missed. It's all right here in one little place. So hopefully that's good to help you to do anything that you need to do, any of the questions you might have. We hope the answer's here. If not, you can always reach out to us. So that's all the information. So we try to put this up front so that if you got other stuff to do today and you got to leave a little early, you've got the bulk of like a whole lot of stuff right there. So now we're going to move on to the next thing. And it would be a good time to, I guess, if we want to do any questions, I like to take a pause and see if there are any questions before we go to the next subject. Did we get anything?
I think some people are still seeing the agenda sheet. There should be a little drop down to the top left side of your shared screen where you can choose whether you see the cover page or Tamika's application. Hopefully that fixes it for you, but if it doesn't, please let me know. Okay. Apparently it's not showing that as an option.
I'm sorry, Grace, are you talking to me? Or are you
They're
answering my
seeing
question?
they're seeing the cover page and not the
Oh,
website.
okay. Let's see.
Some
And
people
mine
are
is
seeing the
saying
website.
you're sharing Google Chrome is what mine says. Let's say stop.
Okay. I think we're
Let's stop.
good. Sounds
Okay.
like everybody is seeing the chapter cover page again.
Now I'm gonna share this.
Okay, are you guys seeing the chapter webinars page now? Okay, perfect.
Looks like we're getting some yeses.
Resounding
Great, thank you.
yeses. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, and it said that they were seeing it for me. Yeah, I got the thing that said you're sharing Google Chrome. It says the same thing it did earlier. Sorry, guys. Okay, so they didn't see how to get there.
Yeah, I think we have, does anybody need to, well, I shared a link to the chapter manual in the chat as well, so they should have that.
Okay. Okay. So just to recap, if anybody missed it, if you go to just the main page, iccsafe.org, go to membership, go to chapters, and the chapter page, scroll down to resources. And that's where all the chapter resources, because it's it's like common sense, makes sense for the resources page to have all the resources. And that would be this part is where it's hidden. When I said that the manual was kind of hidden, you have to click that button. And that's where the chapter leader manual is. And then I showed that's what it looks like. It's brand new, got all the new stuff in it and new links. And then I went back to here to where the chapter webinars are. And it's another resource. Again, it would be under resources. And then it's just got, that's where the upcoming ones live. And you can see where all of those are. And then all the old stuff is here from the whole year. All the links, all the links that we share during the webinars, and all the information that we talked about during each one, and the video. So you can watch the whole thing. And that's the last one from the last one. So that's, now everybody's caught up. So if you saw it or you didn't see it, now we're good. So sorry about that. I was told that the thing is, WebEx told me I was sharing the right thing. So sorry about that. Okay, so we're caught up now. And we can move to the next thing on the agenda, which is the 2025 annual report submission. Or, yeah, I think that's the next thing. Okay. Oh, I did say if there were any questions, I would like to cover that now before we go to something else.
I didn't see any other questions in the chat. We'll get to when the annual report needs to be completed. So yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. All right, so I can close some of this stuff. All right, the annual report. So, all right, bear with me 1 second. We're gonna get that open. Got a lot of extra stuff open. Okay, so we'll look at that. All right, I can just show y'all how to get there. So if you're on this page, the chapter annual report is all that information about how to submit it is here. And so I'm going to show you what you would do. So in January, we're going to open this up for the next year. So quickly, just to recap how this works. Our annual report submission opens in January. It usually is by middle of January. You can submit your report to get your benefits. So you tell us all the great things you did over the year, and your benefits are available after you submit that. You go to MyICC, and all the chapter officers have access to this. So if somebody is deemed the person responsible for submitting that, you can submit part 1 only, or you can submit part 1 and part 2. And so once you just go over the tech of it, once you do part 1 and submit your part 1 and part 2, the system is going to send you an automatic email, which we implemented last year. Before, you'd got nothing and you were just wondering, did you get it? Did they get it? And then everybody's wondering. But last year we went through a lot with IT and with our new system and our new AMS, and we worked out an automatic response. So when the person who submits it, you get an automated response that says, hey, we got it. Give us some time to process it. Grace gets all of these in, and she has a lot to process. So it will say in the letter, in the email, we have it, give us X number of days to work on it. And then when she processes it, it's a manual process, because every officer has to be matched with the system. And she matches it with the system, and it accepts them all, and she submits it, and then it sends you another automated response that says it's complete. once you get that, then your benefits are available. So that's the new system, how it works. And once those benefits are available, whatever time during the year you do this, you can do it in January, or you can do it in the spring, or you can do it in the summer, and you can do it at the end of the year. The problem with that is you don't have long to use the benefits because they expire December 31st. So it is a benefit to do the annual report early. And then if you are interested in doing, to be considered for the chapter of the year, you want to do that before the 15th of March. And this is the page where it tells you all about that. It's everything I just said is pretty much in here. Talks about the part 1 and part 2 benefit, and what you get for that is covered on this page as well. But that's kind of how that program works in a nutshell. And this is how it tells you the steps to do to submit the annual report. And Grace created this, what we call a double, which is just a step-by-step process of how to do it and where to do it. So if you haven't done it and you're scrambling at the end of the year and you just want to try to get something done before the end of the year, we have people doing it, but it's really late in the year, but it's not too late. But you can still do it, and here are the steps. But in January, when we launch, these are the steps that you would take to do your 2025 benefits. So you go to the website, and the main website is where you could start, or you could start on this page where I showed you with the webinars, and go to the link to start the process in my ICC. But here's how you would get there: through the website, the main page, and then there's a little icon to the right of the main page that we call a waffle menu, because it looks like a little waffle, bunch of squares. And then when you get in there, you can click My ICC, because that's where you would start. And then if you just have a link to My ICC, of course, you can bypass all this. But you go in, log in, go into your My ICC profile, go to Chapters, and click on Manage Chapter. And see, that's a test we had to use. And then Annual Report is right at the top. Click on Add Annual Report, and then it would load, and you would start the process of filling out all the required information. And that's the chapter officers, all the information, and you would submit part 1. And at that point, you have the option of saying that's all, I'm done, I'm not going to do anything else. And that gets you the first part benefits, which we covered, where we talked about what was covered, and I can go back and do that. But part 1 gets you the chapter education benefit, which is a free day of training, a complimentary registration for chapter leaders. You're eligible to send a leader to either the Chapter Leadership Academy, which includes travel and lodging reimbursement, or the annual conference. But if you go on to part 2 of that report and complete that, it's going to ask more in-depth questions about, what volunteer things did you do? How many hours did you do this or that? So you're going to want to be prepared to answer those questions when you sit down. But one new thing, and I know Ron's going to talk about that later, but there's some good stuff coming. He's going to talk about that we've implemented with IT on saving some things. I'm not going to steal the show, but you can go back and work on it. So if you don't have everything ready, it should be able to save some of your work. So part 2 is going to get you chapter of the year nomination, but he's going to talk to you about some of that too. So I'm not going to get into all that, but that's where you would do the part 2. And I think that after that, I'll talk to you about now, after you do part 2, what those benefits are. So once you do answer all those great questions I was talking about, the system automatically assigns points to the things you answer. So whatever your answers are, it calculates them and gives you credit for it. and then it assigns you rewards points. So this is what when you hear about the rewards points, this part 2 is what this is. And once you click and finish, at the bottom, it's going to assign those points. And you'll see what the points are after you're done. And so I'm going to take you to the sheet that tells you what to do with the points. You can allot those points. However, I'm trying to find a little tab where I put those. I'll get there in a second. Why do I have 1,000 things open? Okay, so this is a sheet that lives on the web on that same webinar page because we shared it with everybody. But it's just a summary of the benefits and rewards. Again, it tells you those same benefits, but at the bottom it talks about the rewards points and how many points it takes to get that reward and how to access it. So if you and your chapter decide, well, hey, we have 60 points allotted and we know we want to really send somebody to the conference, or we want to send more people to the conference or more people to the Chapter Leadership Academy. This is what we want to do with those points. Then this is where you would do it. So it tells you how to do that here, and the next steps are in this column on how to use it. Use your benefit by contacting training. This particular award allows you to use 50% off on the training, and how to request reimbursement if you decide to use that. So this is, in a nutshell, just a basic breakdown of how this works and how you can access it if you have questions about it. And again, you can always just email us if you have any questions. I want to ask if there are any questions before we go to the changes that we have upcoming. Have there been any questions put in, or are there any questions right now?
No new questions right now.
No? No questions? Okay. Just giving anybody any time to type any that they might have. There's one.
Yeah, will you cover how to determine the number of points you'll get? Or how we determine that, I guess?
I know I've seen it, but I don't know how it's I don't know how to tell you how that's determined, because it's basically a formula, that's like a systematic formula that's built into a program. We don't know how the system was formatted because it's like a computer program. So the assignment of points per answer is not done by a human. It was built. So
I think
the
it tells
assignment,
you in
it
part
tells
2 how many points each thing is worth.
yeah.
So it
Well,
just adds everything up. Yeah.
is he asking how much? I guess I was wondering, does he mean this here, or the answers that they give to, like, how many volunteer hours equal is going to give you
Yeah,
this many points?
Tamika, I'll try to answer this question. When you submit part 2, you are asked a series of questions that you answer. For instance, one question is something like, did your chapter submit a Building Safety Month proclamation? And if you did, you answer yes, and you'll get 5 or 10 points for that. Did your chapter host a Building Safety Month event? If you did, you answer that, and you'll get points for that. And so there are a series of questions that ask about how your chapter engaged with your members, with the community, with the public. And when you answer those questions, if you did something that is of significance relative to that question, then when you submit yes, or there are a few that say, how many did you do? You will receive points for each of those questions that you answer affirmatively. And then the form automatically monitors those points and adds them up, so that at the end you will see how many points you have accumulated. I hope that answers the question. I don't have the specific questions in front of me. If we have questions of something obtained. The questions, so I see a question, are the questions the same from year to year? That the questions do not change from year to year. And then there's a question, where do you go to book the complimentary e-training webinars if that is what your chapter selects? So that is contained in the instructions on how to reimburse your rewards, which is one of the instruction sheets that is included in this. Is that correct, Grace?
It's right there.
We actually don't call them e-training webinars anymore. You can have a virtual training day, but like that specific training doesn't do those specific ones anymore.
But that's where you.
So a
that's-
virtual.
But yes,
Yeah.
you email training to get that scheduled.
Okay. So are you seeing the email on the screen? learn@iccsafe.org.
Yes.
Okay. So that's where the answer to how to use the benefit is going to be in that next step column. So if you have the question of how to use any of the benefits, the answer to how to use it is in the far right column. So if you decide you want to get the $50 rebate for the purchase of ICC products and you've got 20 points left or you want to use that, to do that, that's the answer of how to do that over here.
So I see another question. How does one add a local chapter to my ICC? I serve as treasurer, but I do not see an option to select a chapter as my chapter. So if you are the treasurer of a chapter, you theoretically have access to that chapter as a chapter officer in my ICC. If you don't see that chapter, we may need to work with you to add you as an officer of that chapter. There may be an issue for some reason that you're not connected with that chapter, but in our chapter management system. So then send Grace an email and she will make sure to add you as a chapter officer so that you can have access to your chapter. Thanks, Grace.
Right. And let me add to that also, because Grace and I just met about it to see if we needed to make some changes this year. But the annual report has that section where you tell us who your chapter officers are. So in January or February or whenever you do it next year, the portion that you answer about the officers will update that. So if you don't submit that, it won't update your officers. But once you update your officers through the annual report, if it changes throughout the year at any point, if one person changes or if 3 changes, there's an officer update form in MyICC that you just click that and update it. Just if you have any changes of officers that happen after you submit your report, fill that out and then she'll update it for you. So that's the same thing as what she asked you to do. You can email her directly or you can submit that form. So that's just another way to do it. And that's the only time you should use that form, by the way. So if you've already done your annual report and you get a change of officer during the year, just use the form. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one more. So the rewards points allow extras over and above the 2 items on the screen. So in addition to the Part 1 benefits, and yes, that is correct. You receive the Part 1 benefits, and then Part 2 is where you get those points for additional benefits. Here's another question. For clarity, if we want to use our chapter benefit day of training in early January, do we use the year we submit the report, even if we have not submitted it yet, or the previous year's training day?
So,
Okay, so I'll take that one if you want. Ron,
sure,
okay with me taking that
go
one?
ahead.
Okay, so once the new year rolls in, so at the beginning of the year, you would fill out the new 2025 form, and you would begin using the benefits for that year, that they're good through the end of 2025. If you're trying to use something now, you would use like you would fill it out now. But I think the problem with some people trying to use chapter education benefits at the end of the year is that they're filled up. So a lot of our the instructors don't have anything left. So, but if you want to get, use points for the certificates or any of the other benefits that are left for you to use for the end of the year, feel free to do that. And there may be some instructors available. So I would say give it a try, but try to use your benefits in the year that you fill out the form, the annual report form. So within the same year. All right. Any others?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. So the new information, that's Ron. Going to cover what's going to be implemented and just for you to look for.
Okay, thanks, Tamika. So I'm going to talk specifically about the opportunity for chapters to be considered for our Chapter of the Year award. So as I'm sure you know, each year ICC has an annual awards program where we recognize outstanding individuals at our annual conference, but we also recognize outstanding chapters through our Chapter of the Year, our Chapter Merit Awards, and at the discretion of the board, our Region Spotlight Award. Those awards are presented at the annual conference at the chapter president's meeting, and one of the things that we're going to do for all of you, especially those who were not at the annual conference, there's a slide deck that was used for the chapter president's meeting that included information about the winner of the Chapter of the Year and other information. We're going to include that as part of the resources for this webinar. So to that slide deck when you get the information related to the webinar after this is over. But regarding Chapter of the Year, we've received feedback from our chapters. We've had conversations with chapter leaders, and as a result of that, are preparing to implement changes that will be included in the chapter annual report for 2025. So when the window opens in the middle of January for the 2025 annual report, there will be some changes in part 2 specific to Chapter of the Year. Previously, if a chapter submitted part 2, you were automatically considered for Chapter of the Year award. And some chapters present a tremendous amount of information regarding engagement activities, events, and information that shows the chapter's level of engagement with their members in their community. Some chapters for points for the rewards, but don't provide a lot of description. Both are equally fine. Some chapters are just looking for the rewards, but some chapters want to show their level of engagement so that they could be considered for Chapter of the Year. And what the awards committee found in reviewing all of this information, and when I refer to the awards committee, That is a committee appointed by the board of directors. And that the awards committee is responsible for reviewing the submissions for all of our annual awards, as well as nominations for honorary members. So the awards committee found that while there were many chapters that submitted part two, there were only some of those chapters that really discussed in a narrative form their level of engagement with the community, all things that contribute to being considered for chapter of the year. So for 2025, we're adding an optional section for chapters that want to be considered for chapter of the year. When you go to part two in the annual report, you will be asked a question whether you want to be considered for chapter of the year. And if you do answer yes to that question, then you will be asked a series of questions, 4 questions in particular, that will ask you to describe how your chapter has distinguished itself through programs and initiatives that you've held over the past year, how you have promoted and supported the education of your members to advance their professional development, how you have worked to uphold and increase the image of code officials through participation in local, state, regional, and national activities. So questions like that, and it will allow you to describe some of the events, some of the engagement, some of the things that distinguish your chapter as a high performing chapter. And then when you add that information, then you can submit that information. You'll also have the ability to submit photographs, documents, reports, or relevant documents that show how you have excelled as a chapter for that year. You'll submit that information, and then that information will be considered by the awards committee for chapter of the year. And if you represent a regional chapter, then you will also have the ability to submit information relative to the engagement of your regional chapter for consideration of the region's Spotlight Award. So again, this will be completely optional. If you are a chapter that you just want your rewards and you don't, that's not something that you're interested in being considered for our awards program, that's entirely up to you. But if you want to be considered for chapter of the year, you will have the opportunity to specifically describe how your chapter has engaged with your members in the community to be considered for chapter of the year. So we'll include information about the specific questions that are going to be asked of you if you choose to be considered as part of this the webinar resources that we'll be sending after this webinar. So the specifics will be available regarding those questions, and the specific questions come directly from the council policy that describes how a chapter qualifies for chapter of the year. So this is directly coming from the board's policy regarding the chapter of the year award. So I guess with that, I would ask if anyone has any questions about the chapter of the year option.
I don't see any right now, but give
Okay.
everyone a minute to type, or you can just continue.
All right, that's great. And if you do have questions, contact us, and we'll be happy to fill you in with the with the proper information. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to give you a little bit of information, a preview of the Chapter Leadership Academy that will be coming in 2025. This is actually from a slide from the presentation that was delivered at the chapter president's meeting at our annual conference. So as we did in earlier this year in 2024, the Chapter Leadership Academy will be held in conjunction with what we're calling ICC Leadership Week. This is a series of member engagement events that that lead up to the beginning of our committee action hearings in Orlando, Florida, that will be happening at the end of April. The Chapter Leadership Academy will specifically occur on April 25th and 26th, 2025. April 25th is a Friday, so you would plan to arrive on Thursday, the 24th, and then the academy would conclude on in the afternoon on April 26th, and then you would depart on Sunday, April 27th. Those days, again, if you are a chapter in good standing, meaning you submitted your 2025 annual report, you qualify to send your chapter president or a chapter officer to either the Chapter Leadership Academy, which includes, as Tamika mentioned, it includes reimbursement for transportation and lodging. It includes registration and all associated meals. Or you can send your president or a designated officer to the annual conference with complimentary registration. That does not include lodging and travel. So that's an option for your chapter. If you choose to send your chapter president or leader to the Leadership Academy, you'll be reimbursed for 3 nights of lodging, and you'll be reimbursed for your transportation. For those chapters who want to send their president to the Chapter Leadership Academy, but also want to send other officers, and this happens fairly often now, your president or designated officer will be again reimbursed for lodging and travel. The other officers that you send will receive complimentary registration. We don't charge for registration or meals. You'll simply be responsible for your lodging and transportation. One of the things that we're about to send out is a new feature for the Leadership Academy, and that's a call for presentations. We've over the past several years, we've had some of our chapter leaders deliver great presentations about their best practices, about programs that they hold for their members that they wanted to share with other chapters. This year, we're going to ask a chapter that wants to share your best practice, or if you feel other chapter would benefit from, to submit a call for presentation, and we'll review those applications that have been submitted, and then we'll notify the chapters or the chapter leaders that we would like to join us to deliver a presentation. If you are selected, your lodging and transportation will be covered. So that will be in addition to your chapter president or another chapter officer. So if you do deliver a presentation, we'll cover your transportation and lodging costs. We're planning to open registration for the Leadership Academy in early 2025. So look for an email or look for information regarding the opening of registration. right after the holidays. So does anyone have any questions about the Chapter Leadership Academy?
I don't see any new questions in the chat. Oh, here's one. Would that cover the whole board if their chapter is selected, or just a few people from the board?
Great question. I'm glad you asked that. So you would be able to, for submitting a presentation, you would be able to submit up to 2 presenters. So that would be 2 people that could be part of a presentation. So it would not necessarily be your whole board presenting. There would be you would be able to send up to 2 presenters. And so I do see another question, is there governmental hotel rates for additional board members? So typically when we open up for an event like this, we do have the ability to offer governmental rate. However, it's really important to understand that that governmental rate room availability is totally within the control of the hotel. We do not have the ability to negotiate with for government rate rooms. If there are government rate rooms that are available, we certainly advertise that. However, very often the government rate rooms are the first to go. And once those government rate rooms are taken up, then we don't have the ability to go back to the hotel and negotiate for additional government rate rooms. So I see some more questions coming in.
Yeah.
Great
So,
question from Paul Demers. Paul asked if we use the part 2 rewards points for attendance at the Chapter Leadership Academy, does it include lodging and transportation? The answer is yes. If you use part 2 rewards points for the Leadership Academy, that will cover lodging and transportation. Is leadership week schedule for next year similar to the schedule from 2024? Generally, I would say the schedule is going to be similar. We are on the 25th of April, which is a Friday. We'll have a full day of programming. On the 26th, which is a Saturday, we'll have a half day of programming at the Leadership Academy. And then we'll cap it off in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, with a keynote address that will be open to all people who are attending Leadership Week. That will be technically part of the Leadership Academy, but it will be open to all of our attendees. That evening, we will have a Building Safety Month reception, similar to what we did in Orlando. So generally, the schedule will be similar, but look for a more detailed schedule coming out in early 2025. For the let's see, Lindsay, for the presentation submissions for best practices, is that specifically pertaining to how we run our chapter? It might be. If you are using innovative practices for running your chapter, for how you manage your chapter activities, that's something that and if that's something that you feel other chapters would benefit from, then certainly feel free to include that with your submission. So the quote unquote best practices could literally pertain to anything that relates to how you run your chapter innovative programs that you use for interacting or engaging with the community, how you support your members in code adoptions or support your members in promoting the importance of code enforcement at the community level. Could include literally anything. Okay. I don't see any other questions right now. Okay, so let's go on. I think we're going to we're gonna go on to the dates for our 2025 webinars. So again, this will be posted on the chapter webinar webpage, and we will, as we normally do, we'll be sending out notification to our chapter officers before each of the quarterly webinars. But we thought it might, for those of you that are with us today, we could share the dates for our 2025 chapter webinars: March 13th, June 19th, September 18th, and November 20th. Tamika, if I'm not mistaken, are all of those on a Thursday?
Yes, those are all on Thursday, and we try to keep it all always at the same time. So
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. So
And
we're trying to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah.
So they will all fall on a Thursday at the same time.
We try to
So
do the November one a little bit earlier too, by the way, because it is we're trying to get you before the holiday rush, and you'll see that it's before we break for Thanksgiving, and everybody gets really into the holiday rush of things.
Good point. Okay. Uh,
Can you read those
let's see,
dates out loud
repeat
for
the
everyone?
dates.
Yeah.
I can. So the 2025 chapter webinar dates that we're scheduling will be on March 13th. That's a Thursday. On Thursday, June 19th. On Thursday, September 18th. And on Thursday, November 20th.
Is it showing on the screen? Is that the screen not showing?
We can
I'm
see it.
seeing it.
Just wondering if somebody could tell us if that slide should be showing with those dates, but must be having some issues with that. But
It
we can
looks
post
like
it. Post it.
looks like the dates are showing. I see some yeses.
Yes.
Great. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
All right. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, Tamika, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay. It's back to me. And what do I have? I guess just question and answer. That's really it. The last slide would have been just any other questions. Did we answer the one about the presentation submissions for best practices? Is it specifically pertaining to how we run our chapter? Did we answer that?
I think I did.
Yes.
It could be how
Oh,
you
we
run your
did.
chapter, but it could be any best practice that you feel other chapters would benefit from.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we got the answer for that. Anything else? This question and answer is where we are.
Yeah, when is the chapter annual report due?
Okay, I can take that one. Okay, so there is no due date per se, because you can turn it in any time of the year to access your benefits, but there is a deadline for consideration for you to turn it in for chapter of the year submission consideration, and that's March 15th.
And so sort of a footnote on that is your chapter report, as Tamika said, can be submitted any time. However, you will not qualify for your chapter benefits until you submit your report. So I'm just going to use a sort of an extreme example to illustrate a point. If you submit your chapter annual report next November, then you won't qualify to send your chapter president to either the Leadership Academy or the annual conference, because both of those events have passed. So the sooner you submit your chapter annual report, the sooner you can qualify for those benefits. So just keep that in mind. And also that applies to your rewards points. So your rewards points, you cannot redeem them until you submit part 2. And it's important to understand that at the end of next year, at the end of each calendar year, the chapter rewards points expire. So you have to submit you have to use your chapter rewards points during the year that you submitted your annual report. The earliest date that you'll be able to submit the report is going to be around the middle of January. The exact date has not been set, but look for an announcement around January 15th, when that will open the window when you can begin to submit your annual report. Okay, so we've come to the end of our hour. I know that's a lot of information that we've given you. Again, we'll be posting links to all of this information on the chapter webinar page. We'll also be sending information to all of you that has those links as well. And I want to once again, before we close out, remind you, please make sure to take the short survey after we close out here. And one of the things that would be really helpful to us would be if you have a topic that you feel would be helpful for us to cover, or an area regarding how you run your chapter that we could provide information for. Give us a suggestion for topics for next year, and we will certainly take that into consideration. A lot of what we how we conduct these webinars is based on the feedback that we get from you. We want to make sure that we're providing information that will be valuable to you, so that you can bring value back to your chapters. So with that, thanks everyone for joining us today. We appreciate you spending the time. We're going into the holiday season. Have a great healthy and safe holiday season, and we'll look forward to working with you in 2025. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.